Lily Matthews stepped off the transport shuttle and took her first breath of alien air. It smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. The Galactic Unity Academy stood before her, a massive structure of white stone and glowing blue lights that stretched toward the purple sky. She had seen pictures, but nothing could prepare her for how small it made her feel. She was 17 years old, 5 feet 4 inches tall, and weighed 120 pounds. By human standards, she was average. By galactic standards, she was tiny. Other students moved around her, heading toward the main entrance. Most of them towered over her. She saw reptilian beings with scaled skin and sharp teeth. She saw creatures covered in thick fur with claws that could tear through metal. She saw insectoid species with multiple arms and eyes that reflected the light like black mirrors. And they all stared at her. Lily kept her head high and walked forward. She had earned her place here. Her test scores were in the top 1% of all applicants. She had beaten candidates from species that had been traveling through space for thousands of years. She belonged here, even if no one else believed it. The whispers started before she reached the door. "Is that a human?" "They actually let one in? Look how fragile she looks." One hit would break her in half. Lily pretended not to hear. She had expected this. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 5 years ago. They were the newest species, the strangest species, the weakest species. At least, that was what everyone believed. Inside the main hall, hundreds of students gathered for orientation. Lily found the other 2 human students quickly. They stood together near the back wall, looking just as uncomfortable as she felt. Their names were Danny Park and Michelle Torres. Danny was 19, tall for a human, with nervous eyes. Michelle was 20, with dark hair pulled back tight and an expression that said she was ready to fight anyone who looked at her wrong. "You're Lily, right?" Danny asked. "I saw your name on the list. That's me." Michelle nodded at her. "Stick close to us." Safety in numbers. But when the cohort assignments came, Lily's heart sank. Danny and Michelle were placed in Cohort 7 together. Lily was alone in Cohort 3. She looked at the list of species in her cohort. Varaxians, Crow, Thunderborn, all predator species, all warriors, all massive compared to her. "There must be a mistake," she said to the administration officer, a thin gray alien with 6 eyes. "No mistake," the officer replied without looking up. "Assignments are based on combat potential scores. Your reflexes and tactical ratings placed you in Cohort 3. Lily wanted to argue, but she knew it would do no good. She gathered her bags and headed to her assigned housing unit. Her roommate was already there when she arrived. A Felani, one of the feline species known for their grace and speed. She had golden fur, green eyes, and ears that flattened when she saw Lily enter. "You're the human," the Felani said. It was not a question. "Lily Matthews, 0. The Felani turned back to unpacking her things. "I requested a single room. They denied me." "Sorry to disappoint you," Zira said nothing else. Lily took the message clearly. She unpacked in silence and tried to make her small corner of the room feel like home. The next morning, combat training began. Instructor Velinar was a Silenthi, an ancient species that looked like a tall humanoid made of smoke and shadow. His voice echoed strangely, as if coming from very far away. "You are here to learn," he said to the gathered students. "To fight, to survive. The galaxy is not kind. It does not care if you are ready. You will become ready or you will fail." His many eyes moved across the crowd and stopped on Lily. She felt the weight of his gaze like a physical thing. "We have a human among us this year," Velinar continued. "A first for Cohort 3. Let us see what Earth has sent us." Lily felt every eye turned to her. She stood straight and did not look away. A low laugh came from somewhere to her right. She turned and saw him for the first time. Krath, single quotes, Vestad, he was Varaxian, a reptilian species built for war. He stood over 7 feet tall, with dark green scales, yellow eyes, and teeth that showed when he smiled. His arms were thick with muscle, and his claws looked sharp enough to cut stone. "This is what humans look like?" Krathvos said loudly. "I thought they would at least be bigger. She looks like prey." Some students laughed. Others looked uncomfortable. Instructor Velinar watched but said nothing. Lily met Krathvos' eyes. "I'm not prey." "No?" He stepped closer, and she had to crane her neck to look up at him. "Soft skin, small bones, no claws, no fangs, no scales. On my world, things like you are food." "A good thing we're not on your world." Something flickered in his yellow eyes. Anger, maybe. Or interest. He leaned down until his face was close to hers. "Watch yourself, little human. The academy's dangerous. Accidents happen." "Enough," Instructor Velinar said, his voice cutting through the tension. "Training begins. Take your positions." Krathvos pulled back, still smiling that sharp smile. He moved to join his friends, a group of other Varaxians who watched Lily with the same hungry look. The training was brutal. Combat drills, endurance tests, tactical simulations. Lily was slower than most, weaker than all. But she noticed things. She saw patterns in how the aliens moved. She found gaps in their defenses that they did not know they had. She survived the first day, then the second, then the third. But Krathvos was always watching Dot at the end of the first week. He found her alone in the hallway outside the training center. His friends blocked both exits. Lily stopped walking and waited. "You're still here," Krathvos said, sounding almost surprised. "I thought you would run home by now." "Sorry to disappoint you." He moved closer, and she backed up until she hit the wall. His shadow covered her completely. "You don't belong here, human. This place is for warriors, for hunters, not for soft little things that break when you touch them." He placed one clawed hand on the wall beside her head. "Go home, while you still can." Lily looked up at him. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her voice steady. No. His eyes narrowed. For a moment she thought he would hurt her right there. But then he pulled back and laughed. "Fine. Stay. But remember this moment, little human. Remember that I warned you." He walked away, and his friends followed. Lily stayed against the wall until her legs stopped shaking. Then she took a deep breath and headed to her room. Zero was there, pretending to study. She glanced at Lily but said nothing. Lily sat on her bed and stared at the ceiling. She thought about home. She thought about her family. She thought about every person who had told her she was not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. Then she closed her eyes and made herself a promise. She would not run. She would not break. She would show them all what humans were made of, no matter what it cost her. 3 weeks passed, and Krathvos made Lily's life a living nightmare. It started small. Her training equipment would go missing. Her notes would disappear from her desk. Her food in the dining hall would be knocked from her hands by someone who always seemed to be walking by at the wrong moment. Then it got worse. Someone spread rumors that Lily had cheated on her entrance exams, that she had bribed officials to get into the academy, that humans were too stupid to pass the tests honestly. The rumors spread fast, and soon students who had never spoken to Lily looked at her with disgust. She tried to make friends. She approached other students during free time, offered to help with their studies, asked to join their training groups. They all said no. Some were polite about it. Most were not. "We don't need dead weight," one Krell student told her. "Find your own kind." But Danny and Michelle were in a different cohort. She only saw them at meals, and even then, they were often surrounded by their own problems. Humans were not welcome anywhere in the academy. Zero watched all of this happen. Lily knew her roommate saw the missing equipment, heard the rumors, noticed the bruises that Lily tried to hide. But Zira never said anything. She kept her distance, her green eyes always looking away when Lily needed help. One day, Lily came back to her room and found her bed torn apart. Her clothes were scattered across the floor. Her personal items from Earth, the few small things she had brought to remind her of home, were broken into pieces. Zira was sitting on her own bed, reading. "Did you see who did this?" Lily asked. "I was at the library." Lily knew she was lying, but she did not push. She simply knelt down and began picking up the broken pieces of a photograph. It showed her family, her parents, and her younger brother standing outside their home. The frame was shattered. The photo was torn. She did not cry. She would not give anyone that satisfaction. The tactical simulation came 2 days later. It was a team exercise designed to test coordination and strategy. Each cohort was divided into groups of 5. Lily was placed with 4 Varaxians, including Voss. She knew it was not an accident. The simulation was a rescue mission. They had to navigate a holographic battlefield, avoid enemy fire, and extract a target from a guarded compound. Lily had studied the maps. She had prepared strategies. She was ready. But from the moment the simulation started, her team ignored her. "This way," she said, pointing to a route that would keep them hidden. "The guards have a blind spot on the eastern wall." Krathvos laughed. "We don't take orders from food." They went a different way, directly into enemy fire. The simulation counted their deaths one by one. First one Varaxian fell, then another. Krathvos kept pushing forward, refusing to retreat, refusing to listen. Lily tried to warn them. She tried to call out enemy positions, but they acted like she was not there. In the end, the entire team was eliminated. They failed the simulation completely. Instructor Velenar reviewed the results in front of the whole cohort. Team 4, complete failure. 0 objectives completed. All members eliminated. His eyes moved across the group. Who was the team leader? Krathvos pointed at Lily. She was. The human insisted on leading. She led us into a trap. Lily's blood went cold. "That's not true." "I tried to..." "Silence," Velenar said. "The results speak for themselves. Human, your tactical scores were high on paper. It seems reality is different. You will repeat this exercise next week, alone." The other students laughed. Krathvos smiled his sharp smile. Lily said nothing. There was nothing to say. That night she went to the administration building. She filed an official complaint against Krathvos. She listed every incident, every act of harassment, every threat. She provided dates and times. She was calm and professional. The officer who took her complaint was the same gray alien with 6 eyes. "I will pass this to Instructor Velenar," the officer said. "He oversees all cohort matters. Can someone else handle it? He doesn't seem to take these things seriously. Instructor Velenar is responsible for your cohort. Trust the process." Lily left knowing nothing would change. She was right. 2 days later, Instructor Velenar called her to his office. He floated behind his desk, his smoky form shifting in ways that hurt to watch. "I received your complaint," he said. "And?" "I spoke with Krathvos. He denies everything. He says you are struggling to adjust and looking for excuses for your failures. He's lying. Perhaps. Perhaps not. Either way, this is not something I can resolve. The Academy values strength. If you cannot handle conflict with your peers, you do not belong here." Lily stared at him. "So you're not going to do anything?" "I am telling you to handle it yourself. That is what warriors do. That is what this academy teaches. Learn to fight your own battles, human. Or go home. She left his office with her hands shaking. Not from fear, from anger. A week later, Commander Hollis Grant visited the academy. He was the human military attaché, assigned to check on human students and represent Earth's interests. He was tall and broad, with gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much. He found Lily in the garden, sitting alone on a bench. "You look tired," he said, sitting beside her. "I'm fine." "No, you're not." He looked at her carefully. "I've read the reports. Your grades are excellent. Your combat scores are improving. But something is wrong. I can see it." Lily wanted to tell him everything. She wanted to explain the harassment, the sabotage, the instructor who refused to help. But if she complained to him, word would get back to the academy. They would say she was weak. They would say humans needed protection. They would use it as proof that her kind did not belong. "It's just an adjustment," she said. "Everything is fine." Grant watched her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "If you need anything, you contact me. Directly. Understand?" "Yes, sir." He left, and Lily sat alone in the garden until the sun set. The next morning, Krathvos found her in the training center. The room was crowded with students preparing for the day's exercises. He walked to the center of the room and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I have something to say about the human among us." Everyone stopped. Everyone listened. Humans claimed they deserved to be here. They claimed they earned their place. But look at this one. He pointed at Lily. She fails every team exercise. She hides behind complaints and excuses. She cannot fight. She cannot lead. She cannot even survive without running to authority for help. Lily stood frozen. Her face burned with shame. "If humans truly belong at this academy, then prove it." Krathvos smiled. "I challenge the human to face me in the combat ring. A fair fight. No weapons. Just strength against strength. Let us see what humans are really made of." The room went silent. Everyone looked at Lily. She knew what they expected. They expected her to refuse. They expected her to run. They expected her to prove the humans were exactly as weak as everyone believed. Lily took a deep breath. "I accept." The silence shattered into chaos. Students shouted, some in disbelief, some in excitement. Krathvos' smile faltered for just a moment before returning wider than before. "Tomorrow," he said, "the central arena. Everyone will watch." He walked away, and the crowd parted for him like water around a stone. Lily stood alone in the middle of the room, surrounded by aliens who looked at her like she was already dead. Maybe she was, but she would not run. Not today. Not ever. The central arena was built for blood. It was a circular pit carved from black stone, 50 feet across, surrounded by rising tiers of seats that could hold 1,000 spectators. Glowing lights hung above, bright enough to show every detail of what happened below. The floor was smooth and hard, designed to give no advantage to anyone. By the time Lily arrived, the seats were already full. Word had spread through the academy like fire through dry grass. A human had accepted a combat challenge from a Varaxian. Everyone wanted to see it. Everyone wanted to watch the small, soft creature get destroyed by the warrior twice her size. Lily walked through the crowd. She heard the whispers, felt the stares. Some students laughed. Some shook their heads in pity. None of them believed she had any chance. Danny and Michelle pushed through the crowd to reach her. "You don't have to do this," Danny said. His face was pale. "There's no shame in backing out." "Yes, there is," Lily replied. Michelle grabbed her arm. "He'll kill you. Maybe not on purpose, but Varaxians don't know how to hold back. One good hit, and you're done." "I know." "Then why?" Lily looked at her. "Because if I run now, every human who comes after me will pay for it. They'll say we're cowards. They'll say we don't belong. I'm not just fighting for myself. Michelle's grip loosened. She understood. Give him hell, she said quietly. Lily nodded and walked toward the arena floor. Instructor Velenar stood at the edge of the pit, his smoky form darker than usual. His many eyes tracked Lily as she descended the stone steps. You are certain you wish to proceed? He asked. Yes. This is a voluntary challenge. If you surrender at any time, the fight ends. The rules are simple. No weapons. No strikes intended to kill. The fight continues until one combatant submits or loses consciousness. I understand. Valinar's form shifted, something that might have been concern crossing his features. I will stop the fight if it goes too far. But I warn you, human, Varaxians are fast. By the time I see the danger, it may be too late. I understand, Lily repeated. She stepped into the arena. Krathvos was already there, standing in the center of the pit. He had removed his academy uniform, revealing the full extent of his body. His scales gleamed under the lights. His muscles rippled with every breath. His claws extended and retracted slowly, almost lazily. He looked at Lily and smiled. You actually came. I thought you would hide. Sorry to disappoint you. The crowd roared with laughter. Krathvos raised his arms. Soaking in their approval, Lily removed her academy jacket and dropped it at the edge of the arena. Beneath it, she wore a simple training shirt and pants. Her arms were bare. The laughter stopped. Scars covered her skin. Old ones faded to white. Newer ones still pink. They ran across her forearms, her shoulders, down her back where her shirt rode up. Some looked like burns. Some looked like cuts. Some looked like bite marks. Krathvos stared. What happened to you? Earth happened. Lily rolled her shoulders and stepped forward. You think your planet is dangerous? You have no idea. She did not explain further. She did not tell him about the survival training she had done since she was 12. The martial arts classes. The fights she had been in, real fights against humans who did not follow rules. She did not tell him that Earth was a death world, a planet where everything tried to kill you, from the weather to the animals to each other. She just waited. Instructor Velenar raised one shadowy hand. The challenge begins now. Krathvos attacked. He was faster than something that size had any right to be. He crossed the distance between them in 2 steps and swung a massive fist at her head. If it connected, it would cave in her skull. Lily dropped. She went down hard, slamming her shoulder against the stone floor and rolling away. Krathvos' fist passed through empty air. He stumbled, surprised by the miss, and turned to find her already back on her feet. Quick, he admitted. But speed won't save you. He came again. This time, he did not just swing. He grabbed. His clawed hand caught her arm before she could dodge, and he lifted her off the ground like she weighed nothing. The crowd cheered. Lily felt his claws pierce her skin. Blood ran down her arm. She did not scream. She twisted in his grip and drove her knee into his elbow joint, hitting the soft spot between his scales. Krathvos grunted and dropped her. She landed badly, her ankle turning beneath her. Pain shot up her leg. She ignored it and scrambled away. You hurt me, Krathvos said, looking at his arm. There was surprise in his voice. A human actually hurt me. I'm just getting started. He stopped playing. The next attack was brutal. He did not give her time to recover, did not give her space to breathe. He came at her with fists and claws and teeth, a whirlwind of violence that pushed her back until she hit the arena wall. She blocked what she could. She dodged what she could. But he was too strong, too fast, too big. A fist caught her in the ribs. She felt something crack. A backhand sent her spinning across the floor. She tried to rise, but her leg gave out beneath her. The crowd had gone quiet. This was not entertainment anymore. This was slaughter. Krathvos walked toward her slowly, savoring the moment. Blood dripped from his claws, her blood, bright red against the black stone. "This is what humans are," he said loudly, playing to the audience. "Weak, fragile, broken." He reached down and grabbed her by the throat, lifting her up so everyone could see. "Look at your champion, humans. Look at what your best offers." Lily hung in his grip, barely conscious. Her vision was going dark. Her body screamed with pain. In the stands, Instructor Velenar finally moved. He raised his hand to stop the fight, but he was too slow, because something was happening that one expected. Lily was not going limp. Her hands came up, wrapping around Krathvos' wrist. Not trying to pull free, just holding on. And her eyes opened. They were clear, focused, alive with something that made Krathvos' grip falter. "What?" he started. Lily smiled through the blood on her face. Surprise. She did not try to break his grip. Instead, she used it. She swung her legs up, wrapping them around his arm, and twisted her entire body. The leverage was wrong for him, right for her. His grip broke, and she landed in a crouch. Pain exploded through every part of her body. Her ribs screamed. Her ankle throbbed. Her lungs burned. But she was standing. Krathvos stared at her like she was a ghost. "You should be unconscious," he said. "You should be broken." "Should be," Lily agreed. She spat blood onto the stone floor. "But I'm not?" Something changed in the arena then. The crowd, which had been cheering for her death, fell completely silent. Even Instructor Velenar lowered his hand, watching with all of his many eyes, because the small human girl was not done. She was just getting started. Lily raised her fists and stepped forward. "Come on," she said. "Let's see what you've got." Krathvos charged. He was angry now, truly angry, and his attacks became wilder. He swung with all his strength, each blow powerful enough to shatter bone. The crowd watched in disbelief as the small human girl moved, through his assault like water flowing around stone. She was not faster than before. She was not stronger, but something had changed in her eyes. Every movement was calculated. Every step had purpose. She was not trying to win anymore. She was trying to survive. And humans were very, very good at surviving. Krathvos landed a hit to her shoulder that spun her around. She used the momentum to duck under his follow-up strike. His claws whistled past her head, close enough to cut a few strands of hair. "Stand still," he roared. No. She kept moving. Her body was screaming at her to stop, to fall, to give up. Her ribs were definitely broken. Her ankle was swelling inside her boot. Blood ran from a dozen cuts across her arms and face. Every breath felt like fire, but humans had a secret. A gift from millions of years of evolution on a world that wanted to kill them every single day. They could ignore pain. Not forever. Not completely. But when the situation demanded it, when survival was on the line, something happened in the human brain. Chemicals flooded through the bloodstream. The body stopped listening to its own warnings. Pain became just information, important but not controlling. The aliens called it madness. Humans called it adrenaline. Lily felt it now, that familiar rush that turned the world sharp and clear. Her heart pounded. Her senses heightened. The pain was still there, but it was far away, like a voice calling from another room. Krathvos swung again. This time, Lily did not just dodge. She stepped inside his reach, past his claws, into the space where his size became a weakness. Her fist drove into his throat, hitting the soft tissue between his scales. He choked and stumbled back. The crowd gasped. "How?" Someone shouted. "How is she still fighting?" Instructor Velenar watched in silence. his form completely still. Krathvos recovered quickly, but there was something new in his eyes. Caution. Maybe even a little fear. "What are you?" he demanded. "Human." He came at her again, but slower this time, more careful. He had realized that power alone would not win this fight. The human was too slippery, too unpredictable. They circled each other like predators. Lily's breathing was ragged, her stance unsteady, but she did not back down. She watched his movements, looking for patterns, looking for weaknesses. There, his left knee. He favored it slightly when he turned. An old injury, maybe, or a joint that was not as strong as the others. She filed the information away and waited. Krathvos attacked with a combination. Fists and tail and claws all working together. Lily blocked what she could and took what she could not. A claw raked across her back, leaving 3 burning lines of pain. She did not cry out. Instead, she dropped low and kicked his left knee from the side. The joint buckled. Krathvos went down on one knee, roaring in pain and surprise. For the first time in the fight, he was at her level. Lily did not hesitate. She drove her elbow into his face, feeling the impact all the way up her arm. His head snapped back. She hit him again. And again. Blood, green and thick, began to flow from his snout. The crowd was on its feet now, shouting, though Lily could not tell if they were cheering for her or against her. It did not matter. Nothing mattered except the fight. Krathvos caught her arm on the 4th strike. His grip was like iron. He pulled her close, close enough that she could see every scale on his face, every tooth in his mouth. "Enough," he growled. "You've made your point. Surrender." "No, you cannot win. Look at yourself. You're barely standing. Then knock me down." His eyes narrowed. "You're insane. Maybe." She headbutted him. It was a stupid move. Her forehead against his scaled skull. She felt the impact rattle her brain, saw stars explode across her vision. But it surprised him enough that his grip loosened. She tore free and stumbled back, nearly falling. The world spun around her. She could taste blood in her mouth. Her vision was going gray at the edges. "Stay up," she told herself. "Stay up." "Stay up." She stayed up. Krath. Single quotes. Vis rose to his feet, slower than before. His knee was definitely damaged. His face was bleeding. He looked at Lily with something that might have been respect. "Why won't you fall?" he asked, and there was genuine confusion in his voice. "Because I can't. Everyone falls eventually. Then make me." He roared and charged, but he was limping now. And Lily could see the exhaustion in his movements. Varaxians were built for power, not endurance. They were ambush predators, designed to end fights quickly with overwhelming force. They were not meant for long battles. Humans were different. Humans were persistence hunters. Their ancestors had chased prey across the savannah for hours, for days, until the animals simply could not run anymore. They were built to last. To endure, to keep going when everything said they should stop. Krathvos was slowing down. Lily was not. She dodged his charge and struck his injured knee again. He howled and swung wildly. She ducked under his arm and drove her fist into his ribs. Finding the gap between his scales, he doubled over. She kicked his other leg out from him, under him. He fell. The arena went completely silent. Krathvos was on his hands and knees, gasping for breath. Lily stood over him, swaying, barely conscious, but standing. "Submit," she said. "Never." He tried to rise. She kicked him in the face. He went back down. "Submit. I will not lose to a human." He pushed himself up again, fueled by pure rage. But his body was failing him. His movements were clumsy, uncoordinated. He swung at her, and she caught his arm. Then she did something no one expected. She twisted behind him, wrapped her arm around his throat, and locked her legs around his torso. A chokehold. Simple. Effective. Deadly if held long enough. Krathvos thrashed. He was still stronger than her, still bigger. But she had leverage, and she had position, and she had something he did not. She had nothing left to lose. Submit, she said into his ear. He clawed at her arms, tearing her skin. She did not let go. He threw himself backward, slamming her against the arena floor. Her broken ribs screamed. She did not let go. He rolled, trying to crush her beneath his weight. She adjusted her grip and squeezed harder. His movements became weaker. His thrashing slowed. Instructor Velenar moved to the edge of the arena. Human, release him. The fight is over. Lily heard him. She understood, but she held on for 3 more seconds. 3 seconds to make sure he understood. 3 seconds to make sure everyone understood. Then she let go. Krathvos collapsed to the ground. Gasping, beaten and Lily Matthews, covered in blood, barely able to stand, raised her head and looked at the crowd. No one made a sound. The silence lasted for an eternity. Lily stood in the center of the arena, swaying like a tree in a storm. Her body had finally caught up with everything she had done to it. The adrenaline was fading, and the pain was coming back, wave after wave of it crashing through her. But she stayed standing. She would not fall. Not yet. Krathvos lay at her feet, still gasping for air. His scales had lost their shine. His claws had stopped twitching. He looked smaller somehow, broken in a way that had nothing to do with his body. Lily looked up at the crowd, at the hundreds of alien faces staring down at her. Then she spoke. "We are small." Her voice was rough, barely more than a whisper, but the arena's acoustics carried it to every corner. "We are soft. We break easy. Our bones are fragile. Our skin tears. We bleed red, and we bleed a lot." She turned slowly, making sure everyone could see her. See the blood. See the wounds. See what she had endured. But we do not stop. She paused, letting the words sink in. Ever. Then she walked out of the arena. No one tried to stop her. No one said a word. She climbed the stairs slowly, one painful step at a time, and disappeared through the exit. The moment she was out of sight, her legs gave out. She fell against the corridor wall and slid to the ground. The world was spinning. Everything hurt. She was pretty sure she was going to pass out, but she was smiling. Footsteps approached. She looked up to see Danny and Michelle running toward her, their faces pale with worry. "Medical team," Michelle shouted over her shoulder. "We need a medical team here." Danny knelt beside her. "You're insane. You know that, right?" "Completely insane." "Probably," Lily agreed. "You won." He sounded like he could not believe it. "You actually won. I told you I would." Michelle laughed, a strange, almost hysterical sound. They're never going to forget this. None of them. A human beat a Varaxian in single combat. They're going to be talking about this for years. The medical team arrived then, a group of alien doctors with equipment Lily did not recognize. They lifted her onto a floating stretcher and began scanning her injuries. One of them made a sound of disbelief. Broken ribs, fractured ankle, severe lacerations, internal bruising, mild concussion. The doctor, a thin creature with 4 arms, looked at her with wide eyes. "How are you still standing?" "Practice," Lily said. They took her to the medical wing. The treatment was quick but intense. Machines hummed around her, sealing wounds, mending bones, reducing swelling. By the time they were done, she felt almost human again. Instructor Velenar visited her that night. He floated into her room without asking, his smoky form darker than she had ever seen it. "I reviewed the fight data," he said without greeting. "And? Your pain readings were off the scale. By every measurement we have, you should have been unconscious within the first minute. Your body was failing, but you kept fighting. Is there a question somewhere in there? Valinar was silent for a long moment. I have trained warriors from 100 species. I have seen strength in many forms. But I have never seen anything like what you did today. Lily said nothing. I was wrong about humans, Valinar continued. I thought you were weak because you broke easily. I did not understand that breaking and stopping are not the same thing. No, Lily agreed. They're not. I will be watching your progress with great interest, Matthews. I believe you have much to teach this academy. He left without another word. Krathvos recovered from his injuries within a few days. Physically, he was fine, but something in him had changed. He walked the halls with his head down. He no longer laughed loudly or pushed smaller students out of his way. When he saw Lily, he looked away. His family contacted the academy, demanding answers, demanding punishment for the human who had humiliated their son. But there was nothing to punish. The fight had been fair. The rules had been followed. Krathvos had lost, and that was the end of it. Some said he would drop out. Others said his family would force him to stay, to rebuild his reputation. Lily did not care either way. He was no longer her problem. Zira came to visit her in the medical wing on the second day. Defilani stood in the doorway for a long time, her golden fur bristling with nervousness. Finally, she stepped inside. I should have said something, Zira said. When I saw what he was doing to you, I should have spoken up. Yes, you should have. I was afraid. Krathvos has powerful connections. I thought if I got involved, he would target me too. Lily looked at her roommate. She could have been angry. She had every right to be. But she remembered her own fear, her own moments of hesitation. She remembered what it felt like to stand alone. Fear is normal, Lily said. What you do despite the fear is what matters. I want to do better. Then do better. Zira nodded slowly. Can we start over? I would like to be your friend, if you'll have me. Lily considered for a moment. Then she held out her hand. Lily Matthews. Zira took it, her fur soft against Lily's scarred skin. Zira, it's nice to meet you. Commander Hollis Grant arrived on the third day. He walked into her room with a datapad in his hand and a strange expression on his face. You made the news, he said, showing her the screen. The footage of her fight was everywhere. Every species in the Galactic Council was watching. People are calling you the human who wouldn't fall. Catchy. It's also caused some complications. Certain parties are now very interested in humanity's potential. Military leaders, intelligence agencies, people who want to know how a species so physically weak could produce someone like you. Lily frowned. Is that good or bad? Both. It means humans are no longer being ignored. It also means we're being watched. He put the datapad away. You did something important today, Matthews. You showed them what we're capable of. Just be careful. Being noticed is not always a gift. I understand. Do you? He looked at her with those kind, tired eyes. I hope so, because I suspect your life just got a lot more complicated. He left, and Lily was alone with her thoughts. She returned to classes the next day. Her injuries were healed, but she moved carefully, still sore, in places the machines could not reach. When she entered the training center, everyone stopped what they were doing. She felt their eyes on her. But it was different now. There was no mockery in their stares. No pity. Only something that looked almost like respect. She took her place in the formation and waited for training to begin. A new student approached her, a young Varaxian who had just joined the cohort. He was smaller than Krathvos, probably younger, and he looked nervous. Excuse me, he said quietly. Are you the human from the fight? Yes. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. He hesitated. Why did everyone warn me to be careful around you? You're so small. I don't understand why they're afraid. Lily looked at him. She remembered Crothvo saying almost the same thing, what felt like a lifetime ago. She remembered his laughter, his confidence, his certainty that she was nothing. Because they learned something important, she said. What? She smiled, just a little. They learned what too late means. The young Varaxian did not ask any more questions. He just nodded and moved away, glancing back at her with wide eyes. Lily turned to face the front of the room as Instructor Velinar began the day's lesson. She stood straight, her hands at her sides, patient and quiet, exactly as she had always been. But now the galaxy knew what waited beneath that calm, and they would never forget.